for a prolapsed mitral valve, a congenital heart condition. I'll never forget how I felt waking up from surgery. I was cold, clammy, and half-dressed. An invasive tube ran down my throat and was held in place by tape across my mouth. I felt silenced. There was a blinding light above my head, and needle marks spotted my arms and chest. A large, impersonal machine appeared to be forcing me to breathe. I felt controlled. There were loud sounds from monitors that looked like angry gray monsters. The enormous weight that once lived inside my heart was now on my chest, burying me alive. I felt trapped. I panicked and tried to move, but alarm bells alerted the medical personnel, and a slew of them filled my room in an instant. Terrified, I thought, this must be hell. "Good morning. Welcome back." Their eyes and voices were kind as they busied themselves adjusting monitors, bags, needles, and my bedding, and patting the sweat from my brows. "You are doing just fine, Miss King. You are going to be just fine." I couldn't speak, but my eyes were screaming. "Who the hell are you people? What have you done to me? Get me out of here. I want out. Out." I was frightened, but even more, I was angry. You see, I had sworn long before never to let anyone have this much control over me. Yet these strangers, whom I considered enemies at the time, not only had control over my heart, they had more access to my heart than I did. It was like a nightmare. Dr. Welder, a squat-looking young man, entered. "We have good news, Miss King. We did not have to replace your heart valve. We were able to repair it. This means there is nothing artificial about your heart. It's all yours. In no time you'll be as good as new." But he was wrong. Little did I know, lying in this stark white ammonia-scented intensive care unit, that this rude awakening marked the beginning of a profound journey from open-heart surgery to an open heart. During the helplessness and haunting stillness of my recovery, I found myself remembering the war zone of my childhood. I grew up during the height of the civil rights movement in a working-class family with my mother as head of our household. I was the fifth of 8 children, the first 6 of us each 1 year apart in age. We lived in a thriving neighborhood in south-central Los Angeles. Many families on 43rd Street, east of Central, owned their homes. Ours, like the others, was a handsome, tidy, single-story craftsman-style house with a large front porch. Success in our community was defined as being obedient, getting a job with the county instead of being on county assistance, and making it through the day without being harassed by the police. You could not be soft-hearted. You had to be tough to survive, know how to follow the invisible mind maps of the enemy. Having feelings was dangerous. Being called a bitch was a compliment, and going to church was more important than being a Christian. My mother was active in the civil rights movement. Ironically, she fought against police brutality, yet would beat us kids as if we were disobedient slaves. She was an advocate for fair housing while confining us to our rooms to maintain control, where life felt as small as the twin-sized bed that I shared with my sister. Mom also worked for voting rights, but seemed indifferent to our cries. Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech, espousing freedom and self-determination, was recognized in our house as the zenith of Black pride, while at the same time, my mother's harsh parenting practices remained routine and unquestioned. I don't recall being hugged or kissed, or feeling special as a child. What I remember most is how controlled I felt, and that I could not venture more than 25 feet from our house, the length of the concrete sidewalk that defined our front yard. The most vivid war for me as a child was not the Vietnam War that was taking the lives of many young men I grew up with, or the Watts riots that exploded in our immediate community. The most traumatic war for me was a war of emotions whose battleground was in my heart. The weapons were emotional neglect and physical abuse, and the enemy was my mother, whom I loved. My silent mantra as a child was, "I can't wait to get out." An older sister got pregnant and left home by the time she was 15. I followed her example, thinking more about my freedom than the responsibilities of raising a child. I denied any fear and was determined never to need my family again. After graduating from high school, I immediately took a secretarial job with the County of Los Angeles.